So I have a lot of tips and tricks for you guys, especially as new grad nurses. I'm gonna share all my tips with you guys because I know how it is to work on Med-Surg as a new grad nurse. It is crazy, it is busy, but you do learn a lot. So let me give you guys my tips. So if you're interested, then keep on watching. So tip number one, especially in this state of healthcare right now, your safety should always be put first. If somebody tells you to do something and in your gut, or you just know that it's not right, don't do it. Your safety is and should always be first. Obviously the patient's safety too, but just because you're a new grad, I mean, don't blindly listen to everybody else. You have to pretty much follow your gut feeling and your common sense. You know, some things are not supposed to be done, and just because somebody else is telling you to do it doesn't mean that you gotta do it. Remember, you have to protect your license, because now you have a license and that license can be taken away very easily. So be mindful of that. Your safety, your license, your patient's safety should always be first. My second tip would be to stay organized and make sure you have your own like handoff report sheet. If your department does not have like specific handoff sheets that they want you to do and pass on to the next nurse, then do your own. Organize it the way that would be easier for you to understand and for you to remember things that need to be done. Because on Med-Surg, you're gonna be busy. I remember those times, it's like super busy, and I'm pretty sure that now is probably a little worse. And I'm not saying this to scare you, but it's like, it's the truth. It's busy. Med-Surg is busy, just like any other specialty, but every specialty has its like pros and cons. And like I said, you're gonna learn a lot on Med-Surg floor. Hopefully you like it, and if you don't, there's so many other specialties, but I want to help you be successful in this phase as a new grad nurse, and that's why I'm sharing these tips with you guys. Try to find ways to stay organized and do your own handoff sheet. Organize it in a way that you'd be able to remember what you need to do throughout your 12-hour shift, because that's gonna help you a lot, especially to stay organized. I would write down literally like my IV medication, because you're gonna have like, gosh, I don't even know how it is now, but then when I was at the bedside, I had like 4 to 5 patients on my own, and then if I had an LVN, then I would have like 8, 9 patients. It would just really depend if we were short or not, which that's a whole different video, but it would just depend. If you were just on your own, or if you had an LVN or LPN with you, then you would get a lot more patients. And the medications that you were responsible for were the IV medications if you were in a group with an LVN. So writing down like a specific areas, like IV meds that you have to give, times, patient information on there, obviously getting rid of it after you're done with your shift. Like before you leave the facility, just trash it. Like you don't need to take that home. Obviously you shouldn't be taking that home, by the way, HIPAA, but yeah, just do it for your shift and then just toss it out at the end. Another tip is that it's important that you stay on top of your PRN meds. If you have a patient who is there for pain control, then it's important that you stay on top of it. You don't want them to be in pain. And remember, pain is always what the patient says, not what you think or what you assume is their pain. So remember that always, like, pain is what the patient says it is. Obviously use your nursing judgment, okay? If the patient doesn't look right, like they look like they're short of breath or they look super drowsy, like think about it, you know? Don't just give them pain medication because they're asking for it. Use your nursing judgment, the knowledge that you already have, to make those decisions whether you're gonna give it or not. But remember, pain is always what the patient says it is, not what you assume it is. And even though you are a new grad, don't forget that you can still delegate, okay? As the RN, you can still delegate to the LVN, the CNA. If you need help with something and you're busy doing what you need to do as the RN, then it's important that you professionally and nicely, ask for help and delegate it to somebody else, because you also need to do your own job. And when I was working on Med-Surg, like, well, even now, I'm like, I don't really like to delegate. I just like to do it, you know? But sometimes you're just busy. Like, yes, I would be out there cleaning patients, even as an RN, like, you still have to do that. Not have to, like, it's not your specific role to do it, but I would still do it. Like, if I had time, I'm gonna do it. Which reminds me, do not be that nurse that just because you're an RN or you're an LVN, you're not gonna do X, Y, and Z just because that's not a part of your role, okay? Everybody is there to help each other. So if the patient is asking you, you know, to help him or her get up to the restroom, then do that, okay? Like, I'm not telling you to do that for each and every patient. If you're busy, obviously you gotta pick and choose. You gotta do your own work yourself. But if you need help, then delegate it. If you have time, then help the LVNs, help the CNA, help the other nurses who need help. Don't just sit there, okay? That's gonna be very helpful, because when it comes down to it, whenever you need help, whoever you help will hopefully would eventually help you back, okay? Be a team player. My next tip is make sure that before you call the doctor, because there's probably at least once a day you're going to be calling the doctor, or you're going to be talking to them requesting something that the patient is going to need, okay? So I have a whole playlist on videos that I've made for new grad nurses. So there's like a bunch of tips on that playlist. So if you guys want, check it out. I'll link all those videos down below. But before you call the doctor, make sure you have everything first that you need before you call them, because you don't want to be put on a spot where the doctor is asking you for some information and you don't have that information, okay? So be mindful of the things that you're going to be asking the doctor. Think ahead and try to figure out, okay, what do I think that he's going to ask or she's going to ask, and have that information already before you call the doctor, okay? You don't want to be like, I don't know. You know, I mean, you could say I don't know if you really don't know, but just, I'm telling you, be organized and think ahead. Here's another tip, and this one is big, okay? Document everything right away. Do not wait until the end of your shift to document for all 5 patients or for all 8, 9 patients. Do not do that, because you are not going to remember what you did for each patient. You're not. It's like 12 and a half, 13 hours. I don't even remember. It was a long time that you're there. Yeah, you're there for 12-hour shifts, but sometimes you're even still working through your lunch and stuff. So, and your breaks. So this is what I would do at the beginning of my shift. Obviously, we all have to do our physical assessments on our patients. So I would take my computer with me, my computer on wheels, or we called it like WOWs, our workplace on wheels. I think that's what it was, workplace on wheels. I don't know. Anyways, you guys know what I'm talking about. I would take it with me to each room, and as I did my physical assessments or like medications or anything I did for the patient, I would document it either in the room, or as I would step out of the room, I would do it outside of the room, like right away. Obviously, there were times where things happened and I couldn't do it right at that moment, and I totally regretted that each time. If I didn't document right away, it was like, oh, like, do I even remember? Like, and then I have to go back in the room and do this and that. So my biggest tip, especially documenting, you guys, document right away as you're, whatever it is that you're doing for the patient, do it right then and there, because it's going to be really hard for you to remember, and to try to catch up on like all that charting at the end of your shift is going to be a lot. So just try your best to stay on top of your charting. Especially remember, if at any point you are called to court or like to testify or anything, your charting, what you document, is super important. You don't want to put your license on the line just because you didn't document. Take that time to document, and document appropriately. Okay, my next tip is to ask questions. If you don't know something, then say you don't know, okay? Don't just blindly go do something if you've never done it. make sure you ask for help and you ask questions. Don't feel bad because you're asking questions. You are new. I mean, I'm still experienced. Like, I'm an experienced nurse now and I'm still asked questions. Like, you don't want to commit an error. You don't want to do something that is going to harm the patient or do something that's going to jeopardize your license. If you don't know something, you ask. Do not be that person who blindly will go in to do something just because they were told. If you don't know how to do it, don't do it. Ask questions, ask for help, have somebody show you how to do it, have somebody supervise you. Just ask questions, you guys. Do not be afraid to ask questions. Nobody knows everything. I'm experienced and I don't know everything. I am still asking questions, okay? And like I said, every specialty is different. So even though, like, just for example, because I want to tell you guys that I don't even know everything, and I've been a nurse for 10 years. Now that I work as a pre-admission testing nurse, I've been there for a year now, and I don't know everything about that specific specialty. So I have to ask questions. So don't be afraid to ask questions. It will save you in the long run. It's better to ask than to not ask and make an error. Also, remember, when you are at work, you go there to work, okay? Stay out of drama. You don't need that in your life, okay? You go and you work. Remember, like, obviously if you make friends at work, that's nice, that's great, you know? But you don't have to be friends with everybody, okay? Don't get sucked into the drama. Remember, HIPAA, okay? Patient privacy. Do not post anything on social media about patients. Do not, you guys. That will get you guys in trouble. Especially as new grads. I mean, even experienced nurses do this. They can do this. Post something about a patient. Do not do that, you guys. Do not. Protect your license. Don't say things about patients. Even if you don't say their name, remember, there are just like things you can say that can make somebody realize that you're talking about them or their family member. Do not post things about patients. Do not. Take your breaks, take your lunch. Self-care is a must, you guys. This tip is so important. Do not make your work life everything, because I feel like that's what I did as a new grad nurse. Like, being a nurse was my identity. Literally, like, slept and I would hear like the IV pumps and everything, and I wouldn't take care of myself. So it's like, make sure you eat good, you sleep well, which I know can be hard on night shift, but like if you work as a night shift nurse, but take care of yourself, put yourself first. You cannot pour into an empty cup, okay? You need to take care of yourself. Self-care is huge. Do the things that you love to do on your day off, so that when you do go to work, you're able to do that and not feel like resentment towards your job or feel burnout, which is super common. And also, make sure you take your PTO, okay? I don't want to hear that you're not taking your PTO. Take care of yourself. Do the things that you love. You're working for a reason. You've gotten to this point because of your hard work, so don't let other people not allow you, like, to take care of yourself, okay? So anyways, you guys, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. Check out all these other new grad tip videos because you don't want to miss out. I'll talk to you guys later.